Right. Good evening, people. My name is JR and I am the FRgooner. How's everyone this week? You all good?
All good.
Good,
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 thank you,
good,
bro.
good. Good to see you guys again. Right, we're going to start off with a bit of negativity, unfortunately. So I'm going to get straight into it. So I'm going to start off with Lauren Koscielny, with a random one, but obviously he's retired recently. Won 3 FA Cups with us. Marcelo, I'll start with yourself. How will his legacy be remembered by yourself? Is it one of positivity or is it negativity?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag. I
Mm,
think the way that he presented the switch to Bordeaux was pretty unnecessary, and
yeah.
it was a little bit childish. Um, but I don't know, man. Like that's the thing about social media, like we wouldn't have had to think about any of that if he had just gone, and it's a little unfortunate because he is probably Gabriel and Ben White are on their way, but he's probably our best center back from the Emirates era, if not like top 2 or 3. So,
Mm,
while
mm.
it was very petty of him and pretty unnecessary, I think you still got to be able to recognize that he did put in a really, really good stretch for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Is that how you remember guys like, like, I don't know, Van Persie,
Nah,
and
that's
people like,
different. Now.
That's
wow,
different, bro.
is it? Because the guy, the season before he left, yeah, he was magic. But Colleen, you're just not feeling him.
What
He can't.
RVP?
Yeah, he can't come back to the Emirates.
They hurt my heart. There's no way.
Yeah,
No.
no, fair
I
enough,
think
fair
it's
enough.
different. They're different in comparison to Koscielny. I don't know where it's because they went. I don't know whether it's more because I'm salty because they also went to clubs that were winning in that moment in time. And we even gave RVP a guard of honor at the Emirates. No, yeah. After his slick comments, it burns my chest a little bit, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah, no, fair. So do you hold Koscielny in that same regard?
no, I agree with Marcello. Like it's like I thought it was a bit childish the announcement when he moved to Bordeaux, but I still think I think he's probably like the best centre back of the Emirates era. Really, you know, I think he has let himself down a little bit there. It just seems so stupid because that's the biggest club he's played for, one trophy that, and it was really respected by the fans. And I get maybe he wanted to go a little bit earlier, or he didn't really get the desired exit when initially he wanted, and like the whole thing of playing for injuries. But at the end of the day, that's all intra politics. That's you kind of do what you do for the fans, really. So I don't know. I still like him, but if he didn't do that, I definitely he would have been higher up in my estimation for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's kind of crazy you guys say that because and I'm probably by myself, I kind of disagree because with Koscielny, the guy actually threw the shirt on the ground on his introduction to Bordeaux. That was part of his video. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's disrespectful, to be quite honest. It's just like someone letting that person into your house and then they disrespect you as soon as they leave. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas Van Persie, it was the end of his career. He was on fire. I think that he did owe us something more because of the fact that he was injured for so long. Then he had that season where he just was unplayable. But at the same time, he had the opportunity to win something.
Yes, you don't mind RVP. You put
I,
Stoney above him.
do you know what? Yeah, I think RVP.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I just don't like someone in my face has actually disrespected and threw down the shirt that I love. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
respect that because I don't think there's no need for that. But I think the RVP thing, I kind of think personally, he we were at a time where we wasn't really winning anything, if I'm honest with you. We played good football, but when it mattered, I think we were weak mentally and we didn't get the success that we needed. Whereas Manchester United at the time, they had Alex Ferguson. He had the opportunity to be successful, end his career in the way he wanted to. I don't think we were gonna win the league, and he went there to win the league and he got it. I don't. I don't begrudge him for that, to be quite honest. He
I
took
agree
the
with that.
opportunity. Yeah. I'm by myself.
The only difference for me is that he celebrated when he scored against us.
Oh yeah.
I can understand him going to Man U, but when he celebrated against us, it was fully burned bridge forever.
Yeah.
Snake.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I forgot about that. Another bad egg I want to talk about is Mesut Ozil, obviously Monreal. Well, obviously, firstly, he was excluded from the Fenerbahce team, I understand. And then Monreal made the comments that everyone had problems with Ozil. Kerr, does that surprise you at all in terms of Ozil or in terms of his character that Monreal said that, or was he a bad egg in your eyes? Because there was the mystery behind whether it was, Arsenal kind of done him bad in terms of the issues with China and the Chinese Muslims and kind of silenced him. And that was potentially the reason why he wasn't playing. But now we're saying now Monreal, a teammate, a previous teammate, is saying that, he didn't get on with anyone, or he had problems with everyone. Sorry. Talk to me.
I don't know, man. I don't really know what to say about Mesut Ozil, bro, if I'm being honest with you, man. Like, in terms of, obviously, that situation that happened with the Muslims in China and that was a topic that, obviously, you see even now, like, there's just such a double standard, in it. Like, like, it just depends on who's funding what, I suppose, isn't it? At the end of the day, because, without getting too political or whatever, like, there's causes all around the world, innit? That people choose to turn a blind eye to when it suits them, innit? As and when. Our football clubs also susceptible to that as well on occasions. But I don't think that was the main issue with the demise of Ozil at Arsenal Football Club, to be honest. I feel like the writing was on the wall a little bit before that. At times, a mercurial talent, but as we know, towards the end of his time with Arsenal, wasn't producing it enough. And at the time that he wasn't producing it on the pitch, the character that he was our star player at that time, having lost Alexis Sanchez. So, he then took on the mantle as being the superstar at Arsenal. But by not playing games and things like that, he then started agitating, like even how he was being on social media and things like that when he weren't in the squad. Even when he left and went to Fenerbahce, he still was having
making comments,
Arteta when it weren't going so well for the team and stuff like that. So there was a bit of petulance and whatever on his part, but on the whole, I thought he was a good player for Arsenal. I saw him do some magical things in Arsenal that I'll always respect him for as a player and whatever. But his time's come and gone at Arsenal, and I don't really care too much about what he's up to. Like what he's getting up to now don't really surprise me, because you know what it is, he's not at the peak of his powers anymore. When you're used to being that type of player, that caliber of player, being the best player on the pitch every game, being a step ahead of every player on the, like, in his brain he probably still is, but physically he can't do what he was able to do in it. And obviously that's leading him to not even getting into the team and things like that, and he's becoming a bit of a nuisance off the pitch as well. So
yeah, I think what was interesting was his PR machine is crazy, to be quite honest. Like, but I suppose if you're on 300k a week or what he was at the time, you can afford to do those type of things. But even like his agent going, I don't know if you guys saw it on AFTV. I think it was yesterday.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't. I caught glimpses of it, but it was just interesting that, you know, all these things are happening. His agent goes on AFTV and kind of explains the character that Ozil is, the timing of it all, you know, to go to AFTV at that time, one of the biggest like Arsenal podcasts there are, to be quite honest. He's clinical in that sense. But in terms, I think you're correct, to be quite honest. Like he was a great talent. But I think towards the end, it became more about the tweets and the activities outside of him playing football, sadly. But he always, for me personally, he'll be remembered as a great talent for Arsenal, to be quite honest. Some of the things I saw him do, like he was a big player, to be fair. But Marcelo, I want to talk about, I'm going to move on from Ozil, and I'm going to talk about Saliba, and I know this name comes up on so many occasions, but I was thinking the other day, I don't do it much, but but I was just like chilling out thinking, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm Saliba, I've just been called up to the French international squad, I believe, for the first time.
Can you
Huh?
So couldn't you give me this question?
I'm gonna, do you know what? I'll revert back to you after, bro. I'll revert back to you after, man.
I'm playing.
So he's due to go to the World Cup, hopefully, or he wants to go to the World Cup. The World Cup is obviously at the end of this year, you know, 2022. I'm due to come back. I'm playing week in, week out at Marseille. I'm on loan, obviously. I'm due to come back to the Arsenal squad where they've just spent 50 million on now England international Ben White. If I'm thinking to get back into, or to stay in the French squad and play in the World Cup, would I want to come back to Arsenal?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man, because I think I feel like my confidence goes like this in terms of whether he's actually going to stay. It's super up and down. And yeah, that last bit you pointed out about the Champions League, you know, he's been playing in every game basically for them in the league. He's one of their, you know, first guys on the team sheet. So I think if we don't make the Champions League, I don't expect him to stay, because he'll have put in so much time and minutes. I mean, yeah, just minutes helping Marseille get to the Champions League, because they're definitely going to qualify for the Champions League. So it's really hard to convince a guy to come back to Arsenal if we're not in the Champions League and he's not at all guaranteed a starting spot in our first 11. So I'm very nervous now. And, you know, he's only got a couple of years left on his contract. So we either have to sell him this summer or get him to extend his contract and stay with us. And ultimately, I think it's just down to how hungry he is to fight for that spot or take that guaranteed starting center back role at Marseille. And, you know, I'm like Guendouzi's biggest fan.
Yeah, bro.
Of any Gooner. So knowing Guendouzi, you know that kid is in his ear every day, like, stay with us. So I'm getting heated at my man Guendouzi, because he's probably trying to tell Saliba to stay there. So I'm nervous, man. I mean, I'm confident we can sign another top young center back, but I don't even have the name right off the tip of my tongue, because I'm just really hoping Saliba stays. So I don't know what we'll do. We'll have to get a new center back, but that would be another signing. We wouldn't have to spend money if we secured Saliba. So
yeah,
it's tough, man. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you the same question, bro. But can you all put your hand up if you believe that Saliba is gonna be with us next season? Who actually believes that he's gonna be with us? You believe it, yeah?
I mean, I'm trying to manifest.
Okay.
This is it, because I was just about to put my hand up and then say, like, this is more hope than expectation in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to all be noise, innit? You know, one of them ones there, and that he's coming back. There's a plan for him, whatever, innit? Like, but there's a part of me that's also like they really can't. This could go left. This could go left. Like there could be no plan for him like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Saliba himself might just be looking at the picture now at the moment and be thinking, not being funny. When he signed for us, that was what he wanted. But he might be in a different stage in his life at the moment. He looks like he's enjoying his football. He's getting international recognition. He's in his homeland. Like you say, he's around familiar surroundings. I'm sure he's got his family and everyone around him as well there. So,
do you think that situation was handled badly by Arsenal in terms of Saliba loaning him out?
I do, because I feel like he wasn't even given a chance. That's where I feel like he was dealt with badly. And I don't even mean necessarily because, when you look at some of the players in our squad and whatever, I'm not being funny. At that time, you can't say that he would have been any worse having in the squad than some of those other players that we had there, to be honest. Just as an option, even. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know why we didn't give him any minutes, whether it was because he was even here when we had Europa League football and all the rest of it. Do you know what I'm saying? We didn't give him any kind of football at all to try and prove himself in it. And that's the thing. I feel like we saw him that one preseason game?
Yeah, against AFC Wimbledon or something.
Wimbledon or something. Yeah. I think that's the only time we saw him. And even then, I thought he looked decent. I was like, okay, I was looking forward to seeing more of him. And then we just never did from then. So it was a bit of a weird case. And that's why. And then when you started hearing, some of the other noise around some of his private life and whatever, it's like, was that part of some of it or whatever? But speculation, isn't it? It's all speculation.
Exactly. Colleen, you put your hand up, saying you believe he's going to come back. Why are you so confident?
I mean, I have so many thoughts around him. There's just so I literally have so many thoughts. Some of them don't even pertain to him per se. One reason I think he will stay, which is slightly different from. Not that I agree with everything that's been said, but another reason I think he will stay is because Arsenal in the modern era have been absolutely rubbish in selling players. We have not proven that we can actually sell a player whilst they're within a timely frame within their contract and actually get a decent profit or what they're worth. So that's one reason why I think that we will keep him, because even if we wanted to sell him, I feel like we'd do it in the final year or something ridiculous. Apart from Iwobi and Chamberlain, those two, which I don't even know how we managed to get them fees that we did for both of them at that time.
Joe Willock as well. I would say I'd add to that.
Overall, in the last 10, 15
it's been
years,
terrible.
3 good players we did something like that. So that's one reason why. I think if you're a player like Saliba, you're up and coming, you're now playing for the national squad. You do have it's two things in balance. And I think one side of it is ego. If you think you're worth your weight in gold and you're playing for the French national team, who were World Cup winners not too long ago, you might be thinking to yourself, actually, I've seen Gabriel and Ben White, I'm better than them.
Okay.
You could take that route. Or you could take the route of, let's take the safe option where I know I'm going to get games, start every week for Marseille, easy ride to Qatar. So it kind of depends on his mentality and how he rates himself against Ben White and Gabriel. It is a bit of a risk because he's never played in the Prem. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on Arsenal, assuming even if we make Champions League or not, to be fair, there's going to be a lot. It's Arsenal, it's a massive club. There's always going to be pressure. But on this project that we're on, if we're going to continue to keep going up and in a direction, the pressure's only going to mount. So it's whether he can handle those conditions as well. Assuming the Champions League, we're in several domestic cup competitions, and whether it's Champions League or not, we're in a European one as well. Should be. I don't see us finishing eighth. Touch word. So there is game time there for him, and it also depends as well on his relationship with Edu and Arteta. I've seen some reports where Edu's watched him and congratulated him on games, but you've also heard reports of Arteta being like, don't fancy right now, you need to get some.
Do you think Arteta likes him though, honestly? Because I just get the feeling that, do you think Marcelo, you think he likes him?
I think so.
Yeah, go on, Colleen. Sorry, I cut you.
I think he would have been gone, actually. I think if he didn't like him, I think he would have been gone. I don't think this loan spell would have. I think Arteta would be like, listen, I'm not using him at all. He's obviously seen something and wants him to develop further. So I don't know. Maybe it's his way of like. Even though Kerr said, we've had like lesser players in the team, but it's like that Arsene Wenger quote of like playing a young player. Like I can develop them in my team, but I know I'll lose points throughout the season. So it's which one do you want? So you could take that argument saying like from the way he wants to play out from the back, for example, or something like that. He's like, you're not ready and I don't want you under that pressure. Ship back to France. It could be a completely other reason. Honestly, who knows? But if Arteta didn't rate him, I think he would be gone, or we wouldn't hear such positive reports from Arsenal around him. There's not like an Aubameyang situation where the writing was on the wall. With this one, no one really knows what's going on too much.
See, I think the opposite, to be quite honest. I don't think Arteta likes him. I think there's a few players that Arteta doesn't really like from the Emery time in place, and I think Saliba's one of them. I think he looked at him and said, "Nah, this guy's not levels for whatever reason." And I kind of think it's like them situations where you guys have probably never been in a situation, but you're talking. I've got to do an bear here. You're talking to a female, for example. She rejects you twice, 3 times. Yeah, she don't like you. So for me personally, in my head, I got to move on. To be quite honest, and for me, the fact that we had a thin squad. We got rid of a lot of players. The fact that he didn't stay with the squad this season, and then he bought Ben White for 50 million. 50 million at the time, it's quite a bit of money. Do you know what I'm saying? You had Saliba already, and you decided that he wasn't ready. But these times he's kind of marking out Mbappe and these players here. So just for whatever reason, I just kind of feel that he doesn't have confidence in him, to be quite honest. And I think the reason that he didn't get rid of him straight away, to go back to your point, was because I think PR-wise, it would have looked bad, because Arteta, you'd finished 8th. Do you know what I'm saying? So things weren't great with the fans, etc. I think there's certain things that he could get away with, and there's certain things he couldn't get away with. So the likes of like not getting Aubameyang at the time to sign the contract, that would have not gone down well. But also as well, us as fans, we love Saliba. I feel we do, and we haven't even seen him play properly yet. We're all eager to see him play. So for Arteta to go and say, "No, I don't like that guy," and we didn't even get to see him play, but yet we spent 27 million on him. I kind of felt that he was being careful and being cautious. So he spoke to him and he said, we're going to go on loan. We're going to see how you develop out there, etc., etc. But the guy keeps improving himself over and over again, and now he's a French international. Same with Fendouzi as well.
Arsenal though now, with the current form of Ben White and Gabriel.
Good question. But would he not compete though? You're French international. You're marking out Mbappe. Would you not be competing for a starting lineup?
As things stand, out of the 3 of them,
would he start?
Based off of current form, what you've seen.
Do you know what?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but just a question.
Yeah. The only thing I would say with that is, I just don't think I've seen enough of him to answer either way. But one thing I would say is, if you're Marseille, like you said, they're looking like they're going to make Champions League. I'm not saying the French league is the best, because it's not. But the one match I did see was he was marking Mbappe. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend to be no expert, because some people lie. And he looked good. And the times I have seen clips of him, he has looked good. He's got a few players of the months as well. He looks like a half decent player, and I kind of think, like, I don't know. It depends on his character, to be quite honest, and that's something we don't know, because I feel that he should be able to get above Holding, surely. Do you know what I'm saying? And if I saw another player, I would be like Ben White, I'd be like, no, I need to prove myself.
And Arteta is big on that we've seen, like supposedly, but I feel like I think he's got enough in the bank for me to now trust him. Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't fit in with whatever the style that Arteta is trying to implement. Maybe Saliba doesn't fit in with it, or maybe I'm wrong, and actually, end of the season he'll be joining us. Go on, Marcel.
Nah, I think 2 things about the loans that are I don't know. 1, being misinterpreted. 2, being overlooked. The first thing that's being overlooked is that he's a homegrown player now because we've had him for 3 years.
Mm.
So that's one thing about him that's a huge plus, because obviously there's now the requirement of a minimum amount of homegrown players. So even though he's French, he's one of ours now. So that helps us big time. So I think then selling him as a homegrown player wouldn't make sense, because those are like priceless, having homegrown players. 2, we mishandled, we kind of had him in limbo for half a season before the first loan, I think. Or the second loan. I think it was the second loan. I forget.
Second one, I think.
Yeah. But so that was definitely, we didn't do that well. But he just got a call up and started for the world champions. You know what I mean? Like, if these loans weren't working, he wouldn't be playing for France. And I think, the Premier League is the toughest league in the world. I know there's a bit of the Premier League bias and whatever, but I think overall the quality, it's different. Like, any team in the Premier League, you match up against teams in other leagues, it's just different. So I think that as a young center back, he would have been scrutinized so much more. Yay!
Nah, this guy actually fell asleep.
Oi!
I was trying so hard not to laugh.
It took me a second. I was like, what's going on here? And then I
thought your thing had paused. I thought your thing had paused. Kurt, are you all right, bro?
What's up?
You here? Are you all right?
He's here. He's with us. You
with us? You good?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
But
no, finish off, Marcelo. Go on, bro.
Anyways, yeah, I think like if the loans weren't working, he wouldn't be playing for France now. So the only thing I could see is his personal pride getting in the way now of, I got loaned out 3 times, and I'm too good to have to deal with that. So it's like you said, now it's just down to how much he wants it, how hungry he is. And if he's willing to fight for it, that's just what it is about. And that's what Arteta needs, like Colleen said. So, it's up to him now at this point, I think, way more than Arteta. It's up to his own mentality.
Yeah, no, facts. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to see his mentality, who is Saliba, to be quite honest. Do you know what, one thing, I'm kind of glad that he didn't go to Newcastle at the time that he was kind of, they were saying that he was due to go there, to be quite honest, because now they got money. He could be like, you know what, I may just want to stay there. So yeah. But I want to keep Kerr awake. So I'm gonna switch it up a bit, man. I'm gonna ask you a question. Bear me for a second. All right. So this is a hypothetical one, to be quite honest, and it's in terms of the. Let me just get it up. It's not coming up. I'm gonna say in terms of the free transfers, there's a few that are out there. Which ones would you pick out of them? And it had it all up. What's going on with my thing?
But your computer on the blink has fallen asleep. It's only me and Marcello.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
Imagine that, man.
Who's gonna fall first? We'll see. Who's gonna?
All right, I'll lay out some names then, because it's not coming up on the screen. So obviously, there's a few for 2022. There's a few free transfers at the end of the season that are due to materialize, and I just wanted to play a hypothetical game. Do you know, half of them is the likes of Mbappe, etc. That I ain't gonna, because I noticed some people were talking about Haaland, etc. That just not gonna happen.
People are really starting to gather pace with that. It's not gonna happen. Don't forget.
I won't even bring his name up. But what about the likes of Dybala? You've got the likes of Dybala. We've got Dembele. We've got Modric. We've got Pogba. We've got Perisic. We've got Rudiger. We've got Ginter, and we've got Onana again. You probably don't remember all those names I've mentioned, but is there any names from there that you would say you're a fan of and you would like to see to come to Arsenal? I mean, the likes of Dembele has been playing well recently for Barcelona.
Generally, or what I think, whether I think Arteta would take anyone from there, because I think they're two different things.
Do you think he would? Firstly, you don't think he would, do you?
No.
What about Pogba then?
That's definitely not happening. Don't
Why
even
you
let
say
like,
that?
He's the antithesis of an Arteta player, you know?
like that's
Yeah.
definitely not
Too
happening.
old,
See the glee in your
29.
eyes. It's not happening.
It's not happening, right? You know, I deaded my thing straight away. What
I
about the
like
likes of
Kalini is not having none of it. She's like, no, let me shut that down right now.
straight away?
I
What
like
about
Kasala, but he seems like a weird one. Even if I thought Arteta liked him, which I don't think he does, doesn't he have like a weird thing in terms of like his image rights and stuff like that? Like, isn't that the reason why the Spurs transfer fell through? Like,
Oh, I didn't know about that. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, someone else owns his image rights, so it's so hard to do a transfer for him.
That's weird.
Even if I liked it, I do like him. Even if I thought Arteta liked him,
Yeah.
I think there's something quite difficult to do around with him. But I think he's a quality player. Don't see Arteta going for him. It doesn't suit the transfers of late, but you never know. But I do like Sabala.
No, fair enough. And even the likes of, because Dembele, he hasn't been injured recently. I think he's still he looks good recently.
I would look at Dembele, but the thing is, I don't trust that his fitness would magically be perfect.
In it, all of a sudden
he comes to a way more physical league. You know what I mean? Like he's in form now because he's staying fit, but it's La Liga. I don't see him somehow staying fit in Premier League. Yeah. That's the only thing for me. Because I think we need a new right winger. I'm sorry, Kurt, but I think Pepe's leaving. Like
Pepe's gone.
I would put money on him being sold this summer. So like we need a new right winger because Saka needs somebody to keep him on his toes. And you know, when we're back in the Champions League, like this season's been smooth because we're barely playing any games. But when we're back to having 3 games a week, 2 or 3 games a week, we can't afford to let Saka, you know, risk getting a serious injury. He's already been carrying us on his back for like 2 years now.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I can see Pepe leaving. Did you see the goal against France the other day though?
Banger.
But like again, you know, it's just he has those. He's so frustrating. He has those quality moments, and when you're playing a certain type of way, which might only be a certain moment within a game, you know, I think the way Arteta wants to play just doesn't. It's just not going to suit him. Even if he were to stay, we still need an upgrade because clearly he doesn't fancy him to be competitive enough for Saka in the whole aspect of the game, not just like offensively and skills and shooting wise. Because obviously that's not enough in the modern game and not in Arteta's system anyway.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I agree. I think he's gone at the end of the season. I think we've all agreed that last week, to be fair. One of the things, apart from Top Boy, that I've been watching was
Love is Blind.
No, do you know what? Do you know what? That's you alone, yeah? That's you alone. Have you started the South Korean one?
No, I haven't. I will. I'm going to start it.
I heard that one's half decent. But anyway, moving on. Love is Blind. Have you seen it, bro?
No.
It'll change your life, you know.
Change your life.
It'll change your life. But first, you got to start with Married at First Sight.
I knew you watched those shit. This guy. Let me tell you.
I've heard. Yeah, I don't know anything about these shows.
Is that right?
I don't know. Has anyone watched the Invincibles, the Wenger Invincibles on
the documentary?
Amazon?
Yeah. I've not seen it yet.
You haven't seen it?
It's so good.
It's wicked, man. It's weird. Have you seen it, Kerr?
I've seen most of it, yeah.
Probably fell asleep in it.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna lie.
No, I was looking at some of the players that they had in that team, man. Edu, Perez, Henry. It's a great watch, man. You definitely need to watch it. And one of the great things that I took away from that show was the fact that Wenger actually tested them. He challenged them, in fact, to go the whole season undefeated. That's nuts. And the first season, he asked him to do that. They didn't quite do it. So he asked him to do it again. And that's when they became invincible, obviously. It says a lot about the mentality of that team. And when I look at that team, and you had the likes of the strong mentalities, Martin Keown, you know, the likes of Henry, those players, like they're just mentally, we just had so many Vieira, we had so many strong players on that pitch. Do you feel I'll send it to Kerr. In terms of we've got a young team now. There's 10 games to go. Obviously the next match is Crystal Palace. Do you think these young players have the mental still, because they've never really been tested? This is their first time all together, so to speak. This is a very new team. In your eyes, do you think this team has the mental still to kind of secure top 4? Or are they too young? Talk to me.
I don't think it's a matter of the fact that they're too young. I think they've shown that they've got the ability. I just think it's going to come down to if Arteta can keep them focused, and if our more experienced players can rally them and, you know, like steer them, because there's going to be some inevitable moments during the games to come.
Who are those players, though? Who are those players to rally them? You talk about stirring them. Who
you know,
are those
like,
players that we
just mean, like, you know, like players that have been playing well, to be fair, like your Partey's, like your Lacazettes, like your even your Xhakas. You know, he's a bit further away from his own box at the moment, so he's able to. He's not being so much of a liability at the moment. You know, so yeah, even like the experienced players. So yeah, more so than anyone, because a lot of the other players are, you know, a little bit more younger and haven't really been in this kind of position before, etc. But it's more going to be players like obviously your Sakas, your Smith Rowes, and players like that. They're players that we're still looking at and your Martinellis. They're players that we're relying on making the difference in it. And they're not players that have the experience of this part of the season, when we've got stuff on the line, and we have at the moment. And to be fair to the boys, we have since the turn of the year, really, in terms of trying to fight to stay in this position and, you know, getting with a chance to be in with a chance of top 4 going into the last, you know, stretch of the season. We've managed to do that now, and I think we've also surpassed our expectations in terms of we're now seen as, you know, the favourites really for top 4 in terms of, you know, we're in that position at the moment, on merit, with a game in hand, albeit obviously it's going to be a difficult game, but not a foregone conclusion either way, with a, you know, a win or a loss. So everything's to play for in that game as well. So we're in a position now where, like I say, the more experienced boys are going to have to try and get us through our dodgy patches, try and manage it as we can, and the young players need to try and carry on playing as they have been over the last few weeks.
Yeah, you talk about the older players, the likes of Lacazette, Partey, and Xhaka. Obviously, those players were there last year, and you know, last year we finished 8th. What do you see? What's different this time in it that makes you think that we can kind of things will be different, that they can get it over the line? I know top 4 is not a cup, but it's, you know, it's the Holy Grail. It's the Champions League. What's different this time?
I think. Oh, sorry. You go. I'll just.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know who.
Go on, Marcel.
I think one difference too, and I completely agree with Kurt, but another thing is, like, age aside, I also look at guys like Tierney and Benjamin White and Ramsdale, because they're young-ish. They're all 24. But Ramsdale's been relegated twice, so he knows what it's like to have a lot to play for, just on the more ugly side of things. Benjamin White's been in multiple relegation scraps and just survived with Brighton over and over. So they've both seen the uglier side of things, and, you know, what it means to grind out a result, even though we're talking about the other side of the table now. And Tierney has already, you know, he captained Celtic when he was 21 years old. You know, that puts you sort of years ahead of your age in a way. So But, you know, answering your specific question about what's changed, I think that having guys like Ramsdale and White who have been in the trenches, so to say, who have that like dogged mentality where they need to just grind out, get that point if you can't get all three or win ugly. That's something that our young guys haven't experienced because they just haven't been exposed to that kind of fight before. So I think those signings have been huge in sort of giving us that edge, that like grittier mentality a little bit.
Yeah.
But also just based on what we went through last season, all those guys know what it feels like to lose. What was it, like 8 and 12 games or something? Like they know how it feels to lose momentum and just be in a shit run of form. So I think between those guys who've been in the, you know, the bottom half of the table before, combined with what happened last season, which we don't even want to think about. I don't ever want to think about that again until we win the league, and then I can reminisce. Yeah, I think that's kind of pushed us forward.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. You mentioned Tierney, Marcelo. I'm gonna go back to Kerr because I think that strong stuff is hitting him. So before it does, yeah, I just
I'm good. I'm all right.
You're good, yeah. Now let me ask you the question. He mentioned Tierney. There's been. What do you think of Tierney and this season? I you know, before last season there was talks of him being the future captain. There still is talks of him being the future captain. There was rumors going about, probably just rumors of, you know, Real Madrid potentially putting in a bid for 50 million for Tierney. Is he still that guy at Arsenal? And what do you think of his season so far?
I think, listen, I love Tierney, if I'm being honest. I think he's a great player. I think he has potential in terms of, you know, of being a leader. I feel like he'll probably be more of one of those players that leads by example rather than the one that's going to be the most vocal and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. As I say, with Tierney, I don't really see him going anywhere. I feel like there's been a bit of because I feel like there's been parts of the season where a lot of Arsenal fans have got onto Tierney this season, but I feel like I mean, I don't think he's necessarily had his most stellar season necessarily for us, but I feel like he's been solid. I don't feel like he's really let us down in any particular games or anything like that I can think of. Maybe probably apart from that Chelsea game, maybe the first game or something like that.
Yeah, he was horrible
with that Reece James goal, I think it was. Yeah. So he's had a couple of little shaky moments, but which player don't have, you know, through a season? So I won't be too critical, but I just feel like where we've had the slight tweak in the system as well. We're not so heavily reliant now on this, you know, like down the left-hand side.
Yeah, it was predictable, wasn't it?
Yeah, to Tierney, whip it in. Like we was just doing that. That was the only outlet every single time, and it was just getting more and more predictable. And it was just like, what is going on here? Whereas now we don't play like that at all. Like we've actually got a pattern of play that doesn't involve that. We're potent on both sides, left and right now. So our game's a lot more varied, and I feel like also where he's pushed Xhaka forward now, because what used to happen is Xhaka used to drop deep, didn't he, and kind of fill the pocket on the left-hand side that Tierney used to vacate when he was bombing forward. So it'd become like an auxiliary left back of sorts when we was in possession. But I feel like since he's been moved further up the pitch now and further away from our goal, which I don't feel like it's a coincidence that we're actually performing a bit better as well in that regard. And but yeah, he's a bit further up the pitch. But Tierney's not now being asked to do that role. I feel like Xhaka's been asked to cover further up and link more with whether it be Martinelli and whoever else it be that drifts over to that left hand side.
Nice and good.
So that's why I just feel like I feel like we got onto Tierney a little bit this season, but I feel like it's more because he's not bombing down up and down the wing as much as he was doing the rampaging thing where he was our only outlet over the last season or so. I feel like where we've changed, he's got more of a compact role. And I feel like, yeah, that's probably why he's being judged a little bit harshly at times.
Yeah, no, some good points raised there, bro. Colleen, if I was, you talked about, you know, how poor we are in terms of our transfer negotiations. If I was to offer you 50 million for Tierney to go to Real Madrid, would you take it at this time, bearing in mind that we've got Tavares coming through, or is he a replaceable player?
Nah.
Is that it's not happening?
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's not like, I don't think anyone else is offering 50 million for Tierney. I don't see him as a Real Madrid player. But if in this scenario, if it were to be the case, I would like it. It really depends on how much the Cronkies are going to give us for the summer, generally, and whether we're going to need that 50 mil or not. Because we shouldn't really be this kind of selling club.
Yeah, no, facts.
It's difficult because, I mean, I guess you probably could get there are, you know, other good left backs out there that we could replace him with for, you know, a decent price. But I mean, none of that deliberately come into my mind that I want starting for Arsenal straight away. So I think it would also depend on how much we're getting, and we've got so many areas that we need to bulk up in. I feel like if we're selling any players, it has to be because they're not good enough, not because, you know, an offer's coming that could be tempting. And we're talking about Tierney. 1 minute we're talking about Tierney being like potentially the next Arsenal captain, and even, you know, Arteta's even spoken about it here and there. And then we're selling him as soon as like a decent offer comes in.
Yeah, facts.
It seems counterproductive to us going forward. We just have too much going on that we need to do with the squad. And selling Tierney just because a decent offer comes in, I don't think that's the way forward. Now, if for some reasons the purse strings were tight, I don't see that being the case. But if in this scenario that was the case, then maybe we might have to, you know, think about it. But I think that's a problem of the last maybe 7 years ago and things like that, or maybe even a bit less. I'm entertaining it on a realistic level. I don't think it's real. I don't see him playing for Real Madrid.
He's just signed a new contract, so I don't think it's real, to be fair.
Yeah, and I also don't see him going to Spain. Personally.
Too warm there, yeah?
Yeah, it's too warm. Let's be real. I just don't see all the dots aligning there. And imagine like Tierney, this thick Scottish accent trying to learn.
Yeah, it could be a bit nuts.
If Bale can't be bothered, then Tierney is not going to be able to learn that either.
I don't see it, but if it was on the table, I think it's counterproductive. Unless we really need the money, nah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Pepe is probably going to go. Tierney,
how much do you think we'd even get for Pepe? Considering we bought him for 72, he's definitely not worth it now. We're not even going to get near. I don't think we're getting near that. And what
25.
Him?
25 max.
Yeah, it's probably going to be back to Lille or something. Personally, I think he's going back to the French league.
Yeah, I could. Or someone like Newcastle may potentially buy him. I could see that happening. But yeah,
I think
probably
they
25.
At least get a premium fee if it's Newcastle. Like we know how much. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. It's worth a try. Right, we're going to end the show. I just want to quickly just talk about the Crystal Palace match. Obviously, that's our next match coming up on Monday. Obviously, it looks like Zaha potentially is injured. I'm not a man who's happy about that, but come on, yes, that's good for me, to be fair. And also, what's his name? Michael Elise.
Yeah.
I think he's got a foot injury, I heard, potentially, but I'm not too sure, to be fair, whether he's going to be out for the match. But I think certainly Zaha, I think he's got a tier 2 hamstring injury, so I can't see him. Yeah, I can't see him coming back in time. Marcelo, are you confident for a victory away from home against Vieira's Crystal Palace? I think they're 12th in the league right now.
I'm not that confident. No.
Oh, mate, bro, you're Mr. Positive. Come on.
I know, right? I think there are two things to it. I think the first thing for me is Ramsdale going to be fit and available
No, I don't think it is. They played today, didn't they? Behind closed doors against.
Well, yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. Leno was
Brentford
the one
B.
playing. So I don't. Yeah. So look, Leno did his thing against Villa, but I still, we talked about it last pod, I think, or a couple ago. Colleen was saying like we have to potentially adapt our game a bit because Leno's feet just aren't as solid, and even in the air, he's an amazing shot stopper, but he just doesn't offer the same energy or calm that Ramsdale brings. So that's really the only major reason that I'm uneasy about it. I don't expect us to lose. I just don't know if we'll have enough in us to get the 3 points. But I think it'll either be 1 or 3 points for us,
So even if Zaha and Michael Olise out, you still don't think we'll get the points? You think Benteke is going to do it again?
That's a good point. If they don't have Zaha or Olise, I would put us as favorites to win. But I'm just nervous. I don't know. Palace is a really good team. They're an underrated team.
The last game against us.
Yeah, so but also remember, that was when we were still forcing Alba into this. I'm glad I can say this because if Nabir was here, he'd be fuming. This is when we were still forcing Alba into the side. We still weren't fully clicking yet.
Yeah.
We've come so far since that Palace game. So
I think they beat City.
They've got 4 points from City this season.
Yeah.
They haven't conceded a goal to them.
Yeah. So it's definitely dangerous. What's your thoughts then? We'll start with you, Kerr, sorry. Do you think we can get a victory, or are you seeing a draw as well?
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Listen, Uncle Pat's out here, innit? Like, he's active. I'm hoping he's going to do man a favor. No, in all seriousness, I think it's going to be a tight game, Like, I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park. I feel like they're going to set up in a way that's going to make it difficult for us. And I'm just hoping that, like what Marcelo said, is that we've come a long way since the last time we played them, innit? And I'm hoping that can exercise some demons that I've got then at the moment. Because right now, my confidence level, especially after seeing how they dealt with City and stuff, I'm just feeling like, is it going to be being at their place as well? I'm just feeling like, is it going to be a frustrating night or a frustrating day for us or whatever, potentially? So yeah, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, but I'm hoping we can do it. I'm gonna, for the sake of being positive, I'm gonna say we'll nick 2-1.
Okay. Fair enough.
Again, yeah, that's leaning on the hope rather than.
Yeah, I think my only concerns are that we've just come back from an international break. It may, I don't know. When you're in a flow of things, so to speak, and then the guys have been broken up for the international break, and then it's kind of broke down our trajectory of moving forward. Also, on the flip side, Lacazette's just got a hat trick in behind closed doors against Brentford B team, so hopefully that's a positive to take into the match. Yeah, I know. But Colleen, we'll finish with you. Do you think do you think we're going to get the victory? Are you confident?
I mean, I'm cautiously confident. There's like a caveat to it. Like, I think we are going to drop points between now and the end of the season, and we have Spurs, United, and Chelsea. If we're going to drop points, I don't want to drop points. It needs to be between those 3. The rest of them have to be wins. That, you might be up maybe a draw here or there, but really we can't. Things are still a bit tight. I mean, I know we're a few points clear with a game in hand of Spurs, but I think it's too tight for us to mess about.
100%.
Now, historically, Selhurst Park has been a bit of a. I've never been completely going there. They've all, no matter who's been there, Pardews or Hudson's, they're a bogey team for anyone who goes there. Now, Patrick Vieira's got them playing like good football. Like, he's got them well drilled, as we've seen against City, and just generally, hence they're in the position that they're in. I still think we should be beating them. With Zaha or no Zaha, it doesn't really bother me if Zaha. I'm not really my spirit doesn't really take to Zaha like that.
Jeez, right. Zaha or no Zaha. Zaha gets no ratings at all.
Like him, honestly, that didn't really have much bearing on it for me. He can cause some trouble, but I don't see why we should be not confident. You know, since we've been on that unbeaten run, then we lost Liverpool, but then sprung back. You know, we've had some difficult, similar types of games that are difficult, like against your Wolves, and what we thought would be difficult with Villa. So I'd probably say Villa second half, even with moments with, you know, what Leicester can be capable of. You know, we've been able to overcome those challenges. So I expect us to overcome it. I will be very disappointed if we don't, if I'm honest with you. And just because we say, oh, you know, they've taken 4 points off City are still top of the league, you know. So just that, I don't see that as a viable excuse just to make us feel a little bit better. We have very few games where we can drop points, so we need to leave it in those three. If we were, like, obviously I want us to beat Spurs, Chelsea, and United, but if there were going to be games that are justifiable to drop points, it's those three. So if we're serious, you know, we're in a good vein of form. Their players in a good place. You know, the quality. You know, the cream needs to rise to the top in these type of games. And then I think it's a really good experience for these young players, because if they can finally deliver towards this like back end of a season, this will put them in good stead. You know, thinking a little bit further into the future when we are challenging late in cup runs with these young group of players, and then in the next couple of years, if we are hopefully challenging for titles, these kind of moments I think will be very character building and good for them going forward. But I mean, if we lose, I won't be happy. If we draw, depending on the circumstances, because, you know, Arsenal are plausible to a red card here and there, and stupid. But I'm just kind of in a no nonsense kind of thing. I'm expecting a win, and a 1-0. I'll take it however it comes. 1-0. You know, scrappy as you like. As long as there's a good defensive performance and we don't look too shaky and ropey, I'll take a win whichever way it comes. But I'm expecting a win.
Yeah, I feel this is going to be another match where I'm hiding in the toilet, but it's definitely going to test our test our mental still. Hopefully, we're going to show it. Guys, it's been a pleasure chopping up, talking about Arsenal this week. Hopefully, we get the victory on Monday. Come on, you Gunners. Kerr, you're able to get some sleep now, big man. This is your time. But big up all of you for joining. Until next time, peace out, yeah?
Peace.
Later.
See you guys.
Bye.